down in the dirt.
Folks, welcome back to Bru Time. This week we're chatting with Nigel Limb, Blind Bloke Racing. How you doing, Nigel?
Yeah, spot on, Bruce. What's up,
Awesome.
thanks.
It's really good to chat with you, mate. I knew nothing about you until I think you sent me a DM, and then I started having a little look. Wow, you've been on a ride, man.
Yeah, literally, mate. Yeah. Same with you. I didn't know I would come across you. I was just scrolling. I think I'm probably like yourself. I'm forever trying to promote and forward think and stuff. So I was scrolling everything and see, and I saw Teapot, and I'm a massive tea drinker. So that's what took me eye, I think. And then I watched one of your the video that you put up recently of your maiden tour. You know what I mean?
Right, the world trip.
Yeah.
Ah,
so,
cool,
so,
man.
so I've been butting in. So yeah.
No problems. I tell you what, as soon as we're getting straight into it, do you have a tipple of choice at hand?
I do. Here we are in my Madison Square Gardens. So we went to Madison Square Garden 2 years ago to see Duran Duran, and we had a whiskey and coke, and they were £40 each, one of these. Wow. And I said to Julie, I'm bringing that glass back to Madison Square Garden.
Right, well, Slange, here's to your health.
Yeah, same to you, mate.
Right then.
It's bourbon, I like bourbon.
Fine, no problems. For anyone who's not familiar with you or what's your journey so far, pal, can you introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about you?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, my name's Nigel Limb, and I'm 61 in a couple of weeks' time. But on the 50th year, 2 days after Christmas, I went racing my Speedway bike 3 miles away from where I live at Mablethorpe on the beach. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Mablethorpe Beach is as flat as a pancake. But when the tide goes out, it's big enough to put an half-mile oval circuit on, and all hell gets let loose with bike racing. And so this was 2 days after Christmas, 27th of December race. It was primarily classed as the Boxing Day race, if you know what I mean, even though it went on Boxing Day, literally. So I've done 3 successful races, and on the 4th race, which would be about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. Nobody knows. We know what's happened, but nobody knows how it's happened. I just went straight on, and because there's no brakes on a Speedway bike, 500 single cc, run on methanol, 1 gear, no brakes. I went straight on at the 3rd turn on the oval, and it kind of looked like I caught some water with my front wheel trying to miss everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing on Mablethorpe Beach that's concrete is on that bend. It's an outreach that comes from the promenade to let the water into the sea.
Yeah.
And around that nose, once the tide's gone out, it's very soft, and a puddle stays there. And it's looking like I was going between that and the sea coming in, and either my front wheel dug into the soft sand or it caught the front wheel, which took me straight in, flat out, straight into the armco around the concrete nose.
Wow.
And sadly, I hit it with my head. And my helmet never had a chance to save me. I've still got the helmet, not on the chin guard, because they're like motocross helmets, obviously, you have goggles and open face. There's marks on the chin guard, and they have a big peak coming out, and on the peak, it's looking like, as my head must have come down, something, i.e. the armco, come straight through there, hit me in the face, split my skull, and that's when my brain started swelling.
Oh my God!
So they worked on me for quite a while. I think the paramedics, they couldn't find no broken bones because I hadn't broken bones. And they saw some blood coming out of my ear. And usually when blood comes out of your ear, they know there's something not right.
Yeah.
So they phoned the air ambulance. The air ambulance come and picked me up, took me to Hull Hospital, and then I went into ICU in a coma. And without going into too much detail, there's rushing about. It was Christmas, obviously. The ICU had only got one bed left, the Nigel took it. And after all the different examinations, it took about 5 days to find out what had happened to me, because I wouldn't regain consciousness. They couldn't understand why I wouldn't regain consciousness. I was on the life support, on the intubator tube.
Yeah.
And on Friday, 6 days later, the final MRI, I had all CT scans up to them and stuff. And they found that I'd suffered a DAI, which is a diffuse axonal injury. Your brain kind of hangs inside your skull, on nerves, for want of a better word. And when your head stops fast, in car accidents and everything, your brain rotates and it shears nerves off.
Yeah.
And I've just found this out, and it says what I've got, and I can't read it because it's too small. And it's a massive, long word, hypodexal gangle, blah, blah. And I've Googled to translate it, and what it is, it's when your brain gets, it gets no oxygen. It's through this. Through these injuries, you don't believe they suffer from oxygen depletion. And I suffered frontal and brainstem damage with this oxygen depletion. And that and the DAI basically means you will either die of your injuries or be a total vegetable rest of your life. God. So Julie, my wife, got took into what she calls the room of doom. And the consultant went in and explained this and said, there's a very good chance Nigel will die of his injuries. And if he doesn't, there'll be a very good chance that he'll be a total vegetable all his life. So we know then what question Julie's got is asked next. And it was, what would Nigel's wishes be? I was racing with a good friend of mine who, since last year, he had an accident at the same place as me. Now he's in a wheelchair, sadly. But we used to go all over the place racing, and we went down to Kent that summer. I mean, we talked about if this ever happened to us, and we both largely said that if we was in that position, just switch it off, you know what I mean? Because you don't think it's going to happen to you. And because he was racing with me, and he went to Hull with Julie, he told her this story that we've been talking about. And Julie knew that in her heart that I wouldn't want to live. I'm such a go-getter, which is why we're on here, that would be not an existence for me. So she decided to say yes, to switch him on. And so this is like Friday, 6 days later. So Saturday, everyone would come to say goodbye to me, and Julie was then mourning the imminent death of her husband that evening. She was playing the music like she always did, and she saw a tear from the eye, and she thought, so she'd fetched the consultant, and he said, look, this is just secretion and, the drugs is on and everything. And Julie said, well, I think he's still in there. Can we keep him alive over the weekend? So they agreed to do that, and Monday morning, my eyes. Wow. Not awake, but my eyes came open. And then by Wednesday, 11 days later, I'm sat in a fucking chair like this, with pipes up the nose and everything and that. And they call me Miracle Man in the hospital, because my recovery was from zero to hero, if you know what I mean.
I mean, did you have any recollection at all of your time?
I do have stories. I do believe that I remember a couple. this is for another. I can come on. I'll talk about it any time, but it's a bit long-winded, if you know what I mean. But I do believe, yes, that you do, or can do feel stuff. I mean, I sent you that song what I did this morning, didn't I?
Yeah, yeah, you did, yeah.
Right. So I wrote one about being in the coma. Funny enough, I must send you that, and the brother forgot. You know what I mean? But
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more open I am to all this.
Me too,
in the
man.
older days, I was very cut and dried about the whole thing. Like the logical part of your brain goes, "Don't be ridiculous. We're a biological being. You're here for however long you're here, and then that's it." And I just find that really hard to accept now. I really do.
Yeah.
There's part of me. Maybe it is because as you get older, you are facing. That becomes ever present now, doesn't it? As you start to age.
Yeah.
But I just think there's got to be more to this. There has to be more.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you a little bit of it. So I just need to tell you this first.
Yeah. Sure.
So no. So it gets even worse then. Okay. Julie. We looked up to Julie's mum here in this room I'm sat in. Julie had to work to look after her long. She was dying with a brain tumor. So Julie said she would never go in a home. She'd look after her. So the June 2015, Joan died. We'd just been married only 13 months before. We not lived a married life. We looked up to Julie's mum. So we're now spreading his wings. And then 6 months later, this happens to me.
Yeah.
Our life changes. Julie was at my bedside all the time, not drinking, not eating, not sleeping. When she saw that my eyes had come open, she ended up having a mental breakdown and getting sectioned and put in the mental institution. So Christmas Day, there's two, right, so if I can say this, so Julie is born and bred in Lincolnshire. I'm from Derbyshire originally. I moved to Lincoln 28 years ago. She represented Lincoln for horse riding in a time. She was degree educated and full-time employment. And pillar of society, absolutely. I'd had my own business for 27 years as an auto electrician and independent diagnostic specialist and later MOT tester. In 2005, I was ranked one in top 10 in Britain at my job. I went into a competition up in Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
So, Christmas Day, there were two, we thought was important in our little lives, if you know what I mean. And then celebrating Christmas with kids and grandkids. 2 days later, Armageddon sets in. I had the accident. 6 days later, I'm to the switch off. 9 days later, my eyes come open. 11 days later, I'm sat up. 14 days later, Julie's in the mental station. You couldn't write it, could you?
Wow, mate. Gee whiz. That's
you couldn't write it.
That's a turn of events. God. This episode is supported by Super Shield Auto. Super Shield Automotive provide the very best service in detailing, paint correction and ceramic coating of your pride and joy. They can also supply and fit products from many suppliers such as Chiggy, Akropovich, Hex, Denali, Visor and many more. Get in touch for details and don't forget to mention TeapotOne for a discount. That's supershieldauto.co.uk. If you love being around bikes and cars, then they are looking for someone to join them full time. Full training's given and a van is provided. Get in touch at info@supershieldauto.co.uk for more details.
Yeah. So, but now you know that bit. That's that bit. But going back to in the coma, so before anybody told me anything, because I didn't see Julie for a month because I was in hospital a month and she was in for 2 weeks. You know. Yeah. She came out one day before me, actually. I had this dream that I was in a white room, total white room. There was a nurse in there with white headgear on and white regalia. And she said, if you want to live, you need to walk through that door. And I couldn't see the door because it was white, okay? But I did see a handle. I opened that door and it was black oblivion on the other side. And I took that step through to black. And I'm sure that's when I could hear things, and I was coming awake, if you understand what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Now I had researched, because I had terrible dreams and stuff while I was in hospital about being killed and all this kind of, by members of staff and the ISIS. Oh, mate, it's. But I helped research that, and there is a condition what most people that come out of comas have when they're waking up, and that is being killed by people, either loved ones or staff or whatever.
Wow.
Now, yes, so I've had all these things, thinking it was real at the time, but now with research, it's obvious. It's to do with ketamine and all. It's got a name. Funnily enough, you Google it, it's got a name. But that of going through the white door, that has nothing to do with coming out on drugs, as far as I'm aware. And the other one is, I was in a 1930s garage, right? And I couldn't breathe properly. So I said to the manager, whoever he was, can we change these air conditioning filters? Because I can't breathe properly, right? And he says, if you want to change them, you change them. So this is me not breathing properly. And I said to him, I says, it's fucking hot in here. I'm sweating like a pig, you know what I mean?
Is this in a dream, or is this...
This is when I'm in the coma. This
Right.
is...
Got
So,
you. Okay.
some of the other stuff where I was being fired at by bow and arrows with flames on the front, I put that to this drug-induced thing, right? But the walking through the white door, I don't think that is drug-induced.
No.
And what I'm telling you now about the air conditioning. So, these two key things, I couldn't breathe because filters was bunged up, and I was sweating because it was that hot. So, they're the two key things. I didn't know until 3 months later. Because when I came out of hospital, Julie and I was in a mess, absolute mess. And we couldn't talk about anything because it was too raw. 3 months later, I dare ask questions. And Julie told me that when I was asleep, we call it asleep in my coma, there was every so often during the day, they would try to take the intubator out to see if I could breathe myself. And I couldn't, right? Oh, I couldn't. So they knew that's when, 6 days later, they took me for an MRI to see what was happening, and that's when they found them. And the other thing is that to bring 3 fans into the room to cook, I was overeating. My temperature was absolutely sky high. So I said to you that I had this dream that I couldn't breathe because the air conditioning filters randomly, who knows?
Yeah.
And I was too hot for whatever reason in this way. So that says to me, I was having them dreams current to when I was in my coma. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just going through the white door. I think that is so appertaining, current in the coma. As I say, the other stuff, been trying to be murdered and stuff. Now I know there's this, this name for a drug-induced. When you're coming off the drugs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, withdrawal. Yeah,
that's the right word. So I do believe that you do know stuff when you're in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's
when you're in a coma.
Jeez, I mean, there's so many people don't survive the coma, do they? So it's like, I'm assuming there must be other people out there who've been in comas and had experiences. I'm assuming. Have you researched that?
I'm sure. No, I haven't. I haven't, to be honest. I don't know why I haven't. I mean, I have to say, I've learned a lot about who I am now, because I'm a different person now, by going on Facebook sites to do with trauma and brain damage and stuff. Because I believe this. Look, the NHS is absolutely brilliant. It saved my life on many occasions during my... NHS is absolutely brilliant. We know it's shit when we want it, but when we need it, it's perfect.
Life-threatening, you can't beat it, yeah.
That's right, mate. But I do believe, like America, because they have to pay for their healthcare, that their doctors tell them more, have more time with them and tell them more stuff. So I've actually learned more by listening to what people have said from their doctors in, American people than I've learned from my own doctors, if you know what I mean. And I was struggling with a lot of stuff, and you just can't. So once you've been saved, like I was, that is, I don't want to go into politics or anything, but that is then their job's done, and then that's when you get kicked out on the curb side, in my view, if you know what I mean.
Was there no like psychological support after you came out of hospital then?
There's one thing people must understand, that Nigel is very placid. I'm 61, as I say, covered in tattoos. I've never had a fight in my life because I don't like that kind of thing. I'm Mr. Placid. But I do get a little bit wound up about this question, if you know what I mean. So, if we can put it in context, this has happened. So I lost my sight in a millisecond, obviously. So I woke up Sunday morning, loading the van with full sight. The next time I woke up, which I thought it was the next morning, obviously. Now, I didn't know I'd gone into a coma. The next time I woke up, I can't fucking see properly. And that is like being punched in the face, I would imagine, by, Mike Tyson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what that does to your brain, it is, fucks you up. And from my point of view, and I know this is Nigel at the moment, which, I don't want to be that way, but I've lost everything. I've lost my own business. What I built that business from scratch. And I've thoroughly loved my work for all these years. Top 10 in country, blah, blah, blah. I was this go-getter. Hence, I'm in the accident because I was racing a motorbike and stuff. I'd had my life totally ripped out. And Julie was, as I say, she ended up getting sectioned again through everything that had happened to us again. I'm left alone. I wanted to commit suicide. Now, I've had a great childhood, great parents. I've had a great life, despite being married 3 times. But apart from that, I've had a great life. So I've never for 1 millisecond ever had any suicidal thoughts at all. But here I am now wanting to end it all. And that was quite crazy. So it's quite clear that Nigel wants some counselling or something. I actually found a letter. When I've been looking at these things, I found a letter. I didn't know this until only 2 days ago. One person that came to see me from NHS had wrote in bold letters within the report he wrote about. He was an OT guy. He'd come to Ireland 3 times. This man needs psychiatric treatment. It's quite clear this man is broken, absolutely broken. And I said to Julie yesterday, I says, did I ever get any? And she goes, well, not that. You did. I said, no, I didn't take it. Now, if counselling comes under that, then forgive my ignorance, then I didn't get some. But as far as I know, and that was related to my doctor, you know what I mean? This man is broken and needs. But anyway, so one thing that's come out, so there's a couple of things that I'm left with now. And one of them is that I sweat profusely whilst on a phone. Okay. And I can stutter quite a lot, which has never happened to me before. Now, when I came out of hospital, I couldn't even talk on the phone. I was mute. And that was my anxiety. I used to step from side to side like a mad cow. if anybody came, and mum and dad came, or anybody, I had to get straight up the chair, and I stood rocking like a imbecile or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is wrote in the report as well. It's clear that my client. Well, yeah. Anyway, so I can't talk on the phone. So to get counselling, you have to have a phone assessment. So they phoned up and Julie says he can't talk on the phone. And they said, and this is, I'm saying it out here now. They said, well, until he can talk on the phone, his voice to us, we can't talk.
That's ridiculous.
So by the time I got counselling, I'm fucking better.
Oh man, it sounds like a prime example of like there's a system in place, and it's it's like a ticky box assessment initially, and no one's really taken a step back to adapt that to your particular case. By the sound of it, could be wrong, but
fully. Well, you're not, and I'll tell you why. Because like yourself, I mix with different people now. People I would never probably mix with ordinarily, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, because another thing that's brain damage is, apart from losing your sight, is like with total memory loss, just randomly. We were somewhere the other week, within the last 2 weeks, and we met a guy having a similar situation to do with counselling, not a brain damage, but he had a breakdown. And he was telling me the story before I told him mine. And it's the same story as mine. Look, we've been to London twice in the last 2 weeks. So it must have been on train or something, whatever. It was somebody totally random. I'd never met him alive. And he was saying about him, whatever. And so opposite ends of the country, and he had the same thing. He couldn't get help because he weren't well enough to get help. I mean, how fucking crazy is that?
Yeah. It's just, I mean, I know all the reasons that they'll say, they're overstretched and underfunded and all that sort of thing. Yeah. But I mean, doesn't help you, does it? Surely, I mean, the occupational therapist, by the sound of it, the one that came to see you, they've seen it straight away when talking to you face to face. They've identified it.
Yeah.
Surely it can't be that hard to go, okay, this chap is in a fairly unique situation, or one that doesn't fit our current treatment scenarios, or I assume. I don't know the right terminology for it. But you would think someone would grab this by the horns, wouldn't you, and go, okay, well, this bloke needs help, so let's adapt.
Yeah. In fact, actually, Bruce, that has just led me onto something that I forgot to say. What I forgot. So I left school in 1981, okay? I've never been out of employment ever since, okay? I've been off work in 94 because I got run over on the roadside while I was working and broke my back in 3 places and many other injuries. And dead injuries with that one. And I was off work a couple of years. But apart from that, I've been in employment all my life. Mm-hmm. So, Julie's away in the separate mental institution. A friend of mine came, Robin, and he says, no, there's some letters to your letterbox here. I says, oh, obviously. I hadn't seen them. He says, yeah, it was a brown one. I says, oh, can you open it? He says, that's it. I can't tell this much. It's brown. I said, well, I can't fucking see. I can't read, Robin. I trust you. Can you please open it? Mm. And he didn't like opening it. And he said, yeah, go on then. And when he opened it, he says, oh, job centre. You've got an appointment to go to the job centre. 7th of April. Okay. I said, what? I says, well, I can't get there. I said, I can't. At this moment in time, it's only 3 months after my accident. 3 months after my coma, coming out of coma. Mm-hmm. He says, well, I can tell you. I'll tell you. I says, okay then. So we went alone. So we wait with all these sort of people, your bosses and stuff. I have to say it truthfully. So I get my turn at the desk. The chap says, right, Mr. Limb, says, I can help you. I says, can you explain why I'm here? I says, yeah, we want to try and get you a job. I says, you what? Is someone trying to get you a job? How can I help you? So going back to what I said earlier, and I've never had a fight in my life. I'm very placid, but I'll tell you if you're a twat, you know what I mean? But I'm not, you're not a fight. And I looked at him. Well, I bent forward like that. I said, I'll tell you you fucking old, mate. I says, get a line fucking eyesight back. And I've got a diary at home with 2 weeks working. You know what I mean? I said, I can go back to work. I said, that's the only fucking old I need from you. Well, I couldn't believe what he was saying to me. And all of a sudden, security come. He must have pressed the button under the desk. Security got hold of me and he took me out.
Yeah. That's infuriating, isn't it? Especially when you see who is getting money off the government. God.
Well, it's not about that, because I'm very placid. You know, people do what they want. And I'm embarrassed about what happened, obviously. But it all happened because I've never needed them in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I left school. And got an apprenticeship straight away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You've been an independent, self-supported man.
Yeah.
And now,
and because of this, because somebody in hospital would think that I was ill, you know what I mean? They thought 3 months later, the bloke's not gone back to work. We need to get him back to work. Not looking and just going, what you said, just not doing the research, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just not doing the research. And, I've got a lot of stories to tell.
So where are you at now then, Nigel? Where are you with your, in terms of treatment, in terms of progress, in terms of life? Like, 'cause obviously you're called Blind Bloke Racing, so I'm assuming you're back racing. This podcast is once again supported by Conqueror's Motorcycle Apparel. Now, they are a biker's clothing shop built by bikers, run by bikers for people who actually ride. No corporate nonsense, no guessing games, just riders who know their kit inside and out. Walk through the door or jump online and you'll get nothing but 5-star service. The kind where someone actually listens, knows the gear and won't flog you rubbish just to make a sale. For an independent shop, the range punches well above its weight. Helmets, riding gear, casual wear and the bits you didn't know you needed until a proper biker pointed them out. And if you're shopping online, here's the kicker. Use Fisters10. Yep, Fisters10 at checkout for a 10% off. Because good gear should come with a bit of respect. Conqueror's Motorcycle Apparel, built by bikers, backing bikers.
Well, racing's it's a bit of a, so where am I now? Well, I have to say, and I think you can tell by this, I live a rather fulfilled life now. Now, when it all happened 10 years ago, like I said, I wanted to commit suicide. It took me and Julie, we were only talking about it today, a couple of years nearly to get over this and to work out what the program was going to be. You know what I mean, for the rest of his lives. And we had two decisions. We had a decision to make. We either sat on his arse like the rest of them, or went and did something. And they both chose to do something. And my thing was, I've been a biker since 5 years old. And I've owned bikes all my life. I rode all my life. And I've always said, I'm like a piece of skegness or Blackpool rock. If you snap me in the middle, I'll have petrol or oil or whatever run through me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the last thing I needed to do was get back on the motorbike, because the bike took our ordinary life away, obviously.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And getting back on the bike and can't fucking see properly is an even crazier prospect. So I tell this bit of a story. So before the accident, we live on the East Coast. We can push bike from here down to the prom in probably 2 minutes. So before everything happened, me and Julie, when it was evenings, late, like the evenings, we used to push bike on the prom, and I a beach cruiser, one hook up handlebars and big fat tires, because I like to think I'm a cool dude. You know what I mean? And it was it's got bright yellow handlebars, bright yellow forks, and a bright blue frame, so you can't miss it. So one of the first things I needed to do was go back in my workshop just to smell the oil and fumes and stuff, and touch the tools in me, my tool chest, and touch the tools. But because that's me, and going back to drinking, I didn't drink until I come out of the coma. I never touched a drop particularly. I'm now a pisser, you know what I mean? So some people come out of coma speaking French and German. Nigel comes out a pisser. So my life was racing motorbikes, building bikes, mending cars, diagnosing cars, and that was all my life, absolutely.
Yeah.
And photography. So all I wanted to do was go into the workshop and, as I say, smell, touch, and all that. And of course, this bike's there. And I thought, I wonder if you can ride it, Nigel, because one of the first things you lose when you get brain damage is you lose your balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I wonder if you can still ride. We've got a long drive. So I thought, well, what's worse that can happen? And that's you can fall off, you know what I mean? So I got on it, pedalled it twice, and I'm still on it. And I thought, oh, lovely. So I pedalled it up drive, and Julie was still at his kitchen window making a cup of tea or whatever. Because I don't tell Julie what I'm doing. I just usually go outside. And I come past on this push bike. And she's like, well, what's going on? Anyway, so I now know that I've got balance.
You've got the balance,
So fast forward now a couple of months. Red Hot Summer's Day, our lawn is 2/3 of an acre, okay? And I keep it like I'm lucky because it's just there. It's especially windy. I keep it like a billiard table. I just sold a motorbike before my accident to a mate of mine, Robin, him who come under the brown envelope. And he came on it. He came round to visit me and he came on it. And where I'm outside with flip-flops, T-shirt and shorts, sat with Julie having a cup of tea, and Robbie comes round on his two-stroke. I said, oh, Robin's here. I said, Robert, I said, let me run this by. And the boat said, Nige. No. I just jumped on it, mate. Flip-flops, I'd say shorts, T-shirt, no helmet. The last thing you need to be riding a bike like, and Nigel did it. He'd already had brain damage, the year before. And because I knew there was nothing to it on my lawn, I managed to do it. So I've now got clutch control still. I got throttle control. I got balance. So I'm like, nice one. You know what I mean?
That must have felt amazing.
Oh, do you know what, mate? I can feel it now. Just like a dream come true. Because I'll tell you what, just going off track, one of the biggest things I've had to deal with is actually losing my driving license.
Car
That
independence. Yeah.
That's been a real mind fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to be able to ride that again was spot on. So anyway, a good friend of mine, Scott, who I used to race against at Speedway, he said to me, if you ever want to ride Speedway bike again, Nige, you can have a ride on mine. So I said to him, why would I ever want to ride a Speedway bike again, Scott? Because riding a Speedway bike is like riding a wild Mustang bareback, There's no brakes, 500cc, methanol, they're just an animal. So anyway, time passes on. He sends me a text, Nige, I'm racing up at Scunthorpe if you want to come up and have a ride on a bike. So I showed the text to Julie. She goes, what do you want to do? And I says, well, I'd love to do it. So she said, if you want to do it now, you do it. She's been very supportive. So I had to put in place, because obviously I can't just turn up and ride around the public circuit where there's racing group. Luckily, I knew the owner of it, Scunthorpe Speedway. And because I was well respected as a human being, I've never been a good rider, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong at all, I've never been a good rider. But I think I've been a decent person, you know what I mean? So people like Nige, Nige is here, well, he's a good lad. So Richard said, if you want to do it, come and do it. Pre-race, but you come and there's nothing, no insurance, you come, and if you do
what
whatever,
happens. Yeah.
So I went up and did I did 6 laps, I think, on Scott's Pride and Joy. So that was
so now.
So you can imagine now, I'm pumped up to high heavens.
Yeah.
And so I fast forward a little bit. So I'll tell you how Blind Bloke Racing came about. So I don't know if your listeners are aware, but up at Bridlington, there's a thing called Race the Waves. They do drag racing on the beach, because at Bridlington, with the East Coast, when the tide goes out, it's like down here.
Yeah.
It's like Daytona Beach, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And through one thing or another, is that everything I've got, every story I've got has got a story within the story, if you know what I mean. and I got asked to come and do that. Would I be prepared to do it? And I said, yeah. And it's like, come and beat the blind bloke. That's what I was billed as, come and beat the blind bloke. It wasn't a joke at all, but he was trying to get interest, if you know what I mean. And I did do it. I didn't race against somebody I didn't know. I just did like, down the drag strip as fast as Nigel could go, you know what I mean? Yeah. With somebody following me. And so that was come and beat the blind bloke. And I thought, blind bloke racing? Then it just, and of course, I'm partially blind. I've got bilateral purchase retinopathy. That means I'm partially blind in both eyes. Okay, not just one eye, but both eyes, and they're both totally different. And that comes through brain damage.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, everybody that sees me walking down the street with a white cane, I'm now not specky bastard. I'm blind bloke, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm referred to. So I said to Julie, I says, can I see blind racing? Because I didn't want anybody saying, oh, you're not totally blind, so I can, you know. So it's in inverted commas, if you know what I mean. I know I've had no issues, thankfully. So that's how Blind Bloke Racing came. And,
so what's the degree of what can you see?
You
must get asked this all the time, mate.
I do. I see crazy shit. I can't see your face. I can't even see life. I can see these things. I can see this screen, this thing's there. You know what I mean? Then that's all I can see.
So you can't see actual definition, detail.
No.
Well, I'm 6'8", bronze Adonis. That's what I am.
That's what Julie says. She's a bit like Madonna, somewhere like that. You know. I tell them I've got a good memory from before. So contrast is everything to me. You know, black on white. You know what I mean? So when I first came out of hospital, everything was black and white, and then colour gradually came, and I started seeing what I'd call 1975. If you look at a picture from 1975, if you've got a picture at your photo album, you know what I mean? It's all muted colours, and that's how I saw. And I still see that way, to be fair. There's no bold colours. Every now and again, I get a bold flash, if you know what I mean. And every time I blink, I get massive flashes, I get fireworks and stuff like that. And
wow.
So one eye sees that big, and the other eye sees it that big, if you get what I mean. And one eye lets more light in than the other eye. So colours in the right eye are totally different colours in the left eye, and totally different brightnesses and stuff. So, it's a mess. And I have to say, once I've done this podcast, I shall be asleep. And it's not because I'm idle. It's because all day I'm having to struggle.
I mean, that's so much for the brain to take in and interpret.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is. And the fact that I do what I do makes it even worse, if you know me, because I do a lot of stuff. And I struggle immensely doing it because I don't want any help, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, one of my granddaughters, when she was a kid, she used to say, I'll do it by my own, And that's what I say, I'll do it by my own.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking for Julie. She's in the house, but not in this room. I'm speaking for her. I know this, but I do feel that it rips her heart out seeing me struggle. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she wants, I know she'll want to help me. I know if she does ask, she'll just say, no, thank you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do ask that sometimes, obviously. And of course, I've always said, the best time in human history to be visually impaired is 2026, because you've got all this help. I can read certain text, certain fonts on certain backgrounds and stuff like that. I can't read handwriting. So since my accident, I've had to have any card read out to me by grandkids or Julie or whatever. But I've now got an app on my phone, and part of that app reads handwriting. So I can actually read my own handwriting, read handwritten cards, if you get what I mean. I got it last year. My birthday's in 2 weeks' time. So I must have got it in April last year, because it was the first time I could read the handwritten birthday card since this happened to me, you know what I mean? That independence is crazy. And, you know, probably listeners will know this. You get these, what are called Meta glasses now. They've got cameras in. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but for visually impaired people, blind people, they read out facial recognition, they read out obstacles. You can nearly walk with them, if you understand what I'm saying. Because they've got speakers through it, and you can send them to your phone for earplugs. Yeah, it's crazy. It
wow,
really
that's incredible.
Crazy.
I didn't realise they did all that.
Oh, it's incredible, mate. As I say, you know, if there's can you imagine 1800s if he was partially sighted or blind?
Mate,
You'd be there's a bag dumped in canal, wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
No,
or out there begging for money, you know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah, you would be totally on your own, so to speak, wouldn't you? I'm going to ask this question. Yeah. But it feels, I mean, what's the terminology? What's the right wording for it? I'm going to ask.
Don't think of the right word, just that's
right. Okay. How has your accident and the after effects from it, how has that affected you as a person for the good, do you think?
Well, I'll be totally blunt, and I think I'm hoping I'm not good at sounding twat. I'm sure most people will understand this. You know, I like I keep saying, I've worked all my life like most people have, and my view on the smackheads and the drunkards on the benches and everything was quite derogatory, if you know what I mean, and things like that. But now I can give some empathy possibly to these people, if you know what I mean.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I have done this, and it was misguided since, and that's put me then back a bit, because I'm like, well, stuff you then, if you know what I mean. But I can say this, and I had this discussion with a good friend of mine who lost his sight through having a brain tumour removed. And part of that brain tumour removing was possibly losing his sight to the accident. You become very angry. Yeah. Look, so people said to me, Nigel, you could have crossed the road and had this happen to you. Why be angry about it? And the reason I'm angry about it is because if I'd have crossed the road and the bus had run me over, A, I'd have been a millionaire now through compensation. And B, I could have blamed the driver every morning I wake up. Every morning I wake up, the only person I can blame is me. Yeah. And when you race, nobody insures you very much. So I've lost everything. I lost my business, I've lost everything. And the only person to blame for this situation is me. So imagine waking up with that thought process. Yeah. So I've become more I ain't got the right people. Empathic. What's the word I'm looking for?
Emphatic. Emphatic. No, empathic's the wrong. Is it? Yeah. You got a lot more empathy for people.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm going to say. So very angry, and I'm going to say this now. Absolutely out there. If I'd have had a gun when in early doors of my depression and wanting to commit suicide, I've been angry. I was angry at me, but that meant I was angry at the world.
Yeah.
I feel sure there's a chance I could have willingly gone out with a shooter.
Done something
You get what I mean?
daft, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if I put myself now into somebody else's who was in Afghanistan, for example, you know what I mean? Come home from there with a legacy and add some of this wherewithal to do these kind of things, you know what I mean? And get chucked to the one side by society. There's no excuse for doing it, but I can understand maybe a thought process, if you understand what I'm saying.
100%, mate. I can totally sympathise with that, yeah.
Yeah, and that is a worrying fact, because like I keep saying, I'm very placid. And hopefully this comes to that I'm a placid guy. So if a placid guy, A, couldn't think about committing suicide, or B, thinking about doing shit stuff, and then the guy or one man or who's got a short fuse anyway, well, you get what I mean?
I don't know if you know this about me, but I used to be a police officer in London, believe it or not.
I did see that, yeah.
And
I did see that.
I remember dealing with, you deal with people, and a lot of the time you're dealing with people in the most extreme points of their life. Either they're having a psychotic episode, they've broken for whether that's drink, drugs, whatever it is, trauma, whatever it is. Something's got to a point where it's just snapped and they've just flipped. And you would deal with these people, and I'll never forget. I remember dealing with what you call a vagie, an alkie out in the street. This was up in central London. This girl, this young lassie, in her, I would say, I think she was probably late 20s, something like that. And she was just one of the beggars out the back of Charing Cross, Nick. And she'd fallen down some stairs going down to the tube. So we were there, making sure she was okay, waiting for the ambulance and stuff. And when the ambulance turned up, they were just like, oh, it's her again. And apparently she made a habit of throwing herself down the stairs. Turns out she was an Iraq or Afghan war vet. She was a medic. And I think she'd actually been, maybe not the Victoria Cross, but she'd been given, maybe the military medal actually. She'd been given a high-ranking medal anyway for what she'd done out there. But what she'd experienced had just broke her. And she couldn't cope with life anymore.
Yeah, it's giving me heebie-jeebies listening to
that.
Yeah,
and I just remember this. I remember thinking, this poor lass, she's not a bad person. She's not doing harm to anybody. She's just broken. But everyone who was there to deal with her, everyone was just, oh, it's her again. It's her again. And you know that the only way she's going to get out of this situation is if she really makes the decision to do it. And what's the chances of that when you're living on the street? And you're numbing everything with booze and with drugs. It takes like a 1 in a billion person, I would say, to pull yourself out of that situation. So I get it. I understand people can end up in just unheard of situations and doing things they'd never think about. I get that.
Yeah. If I just to show what you've just said there, I've been talks. I've done talks all over the country for big places. Anyway, I got asked once, how did I get out to not wanting to commit suicide? And I said, well, I've had such a good life, like I said, great parents and I've got such a happy heart, all my life. I knew that if I struggled to the end of the tunnel and I felt happy again like I did before my accident, that journey was worthwhile, So that's what drove me to that end product. I knew there was fish and chips at the end of it, and I like fish and chips, you understand what I'm saying? So they said to me, wow, that's incredible story. It was for a brain damage thing, and they were wanting to find out if I could help other people. And this is now, I'm going to be blunt. I actually said, I don't think I can help other people because, and I'm going to say this now to you all, and there was 300 people in there, at the risk of being booed off stage. you can't help anybody unless they help themselves. Now, people might say, no, that's not right, Nigel, that's a load of bullshit. But I don't think you can't help anybody fully unless they want or can help themselves. And if they're in such a situation that can't help themselves, then how can they help themselves, if you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get
just like the girl that you was talking about, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You can offer as much help as you want. You can offer as much money and a change of circumstance. Homeless people, for example, you can give them a room in a flat, and well, in my experience, the majority of them end up back out on the street again. And it's, as you said, I think that switch has to go, doesn't it? And I don't know how you make somebody flip that switch. I don't know if you can. So, are you enjoying the podcast? If you are, please let everyone you know about it. Sharing at the moment is the biggest trigger for the algorithm. Obviously, you need to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. But if you can just tell one mate about the podcast, share it across to them, that helps tenfold. I love doing the podcast. I'm really trying to grow it this year, and you can help me out by doing that. So I'll love you forever if you do. Whilst I'm on the topic of support, folks, the only reason I can do the podcast and the YouTube channel and everything like that full time is because of my Patreon. In the clan itself, we do meetups, we do live streams. You'll get early access to the vids. You get first choice on the questions on this podcast. And you'll also get exclusive early access to my chicken strips tours when they're released. If you want to check it out, head to patreon.com/TeapotOne. And if there's anything there that takes your fancy, feel free to support me over on there.
I don't really think you can. I do believe it's... I said this as well. How did I put it? I am the man who I am now only because of the man I was before.
Wow. Yeah.
Because I do believe I've never smoked in my life, okay? I have had a drink. I'm not saying I was teetotal before an accident, but I virtually were. I always said that if I was a smoker or a drinker, after this accident and everything, and I was in the wanted to commit suicide mode, feeling, I think I would have drunk myself to death or smoked, and then that leads to, obviously drugs and stuff. I do believe that could have happened to me. I do believe that the fact I didn't drink and smoke, when that took the urge away. Well, not urge. It took two of the symptoms of committing suicide. Not symptoms. Two of the, you know what I'm trying to say. For me to commit suicide, I'd have to take, tablets or use a knife on my wrist or hang myself. They was the only three things I could do. Whereas if I was a drinker and smoker, there'd have been 5 things I could have done. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I got you.
You get what I mean? And because I was in a black place. Look, I live a totally fulfilled life now, absolutely. But every night, when there's no sound or nothing, the black dog creeps in. You know what I mean? And that's why and in the daytime, if my mind is quiet, then the black dog creeps in. That's why I do what I do.
To keep your brain occupied. And yeah.
But I said this. The less room there is for shit stuff today, the better life you would have.
Yeah.
I'm doing, honestly, mate, I do some stupid, crazy stuff. And people said, Raj, why do you do that? Why? Why not just sit down and relax or whatever? And I'll say, because if I sit down and relax, then the black dog comes.
Yeah.
So I've learned how to handle that, if you know what I mean.
Did you ever get like counselling or therapy or anything like that?
Yeah, that's what I said. I couldn't get it because I couldn't talk on the phone. And when I could talk on the phone, I was nearly better.
Yeah.
And so I could talk on the phone. I got some from the GP. It was 11 sessions.
Not until that point.
Yeah, it was 11 sessions. And once your 11th session was up, that was it. The only way you could get some more sessions was if you hadn't improved from the first session, or you lied on your scores to try and get some more. And then that was face to face at the local GP surgery. And then through the RNIB, I had maybe 10 of them. I think there's a common thing, 10 or 11 of this, or 10 or 11 phone call counselling from RNIB. So yeah, but that was it. That was all.
Wow. And what about you must have heard of mental health, motorbike, and all of those charity sort of organisations.
Yeah, I have, and I was kind of waiting for it to lead on to this kind of thing. So I'm going to get shot down for some what I say, and I know I am, but it's what I believe, and I've come on here to tell what I believe. You see the adverts, it's good to talk, it's good to talk. We don't talk. So we know we should talk, but we don't. And then you end up killing yourself, you know what I mean? And especially those men, absolutely. So you don't seek it out, if you know what I mean. Even though I knew it was there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you see, and so this has come to a head only in the last few weeks. So who is Nigel? Is Nigel the blind guy or the brain damaged guy? Well, Nigel's the blind guy. Doctors, that's who I am, visually impaired. I'm certified, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. Not certified Mac, but certified, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. But the reason why my eyes I can't see is because I've got brain damage. Even I forget I've got brain damage, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, there's a charity out there called Headway, all over the country, you've probably heard of it. Well, in rural Lincolnshire, we have no trouble here, you know what I mean? We don't do our buses or anything. I'm still on horse and cart up here. Headway have now come to Skegness. People probably heard of Skegness. Well, I'm 16 miles from Skegness. For me to go to Skegness on a bus, so leaving my house to if I just went to Skegness and got straight back on the bus to come back, from leaving my house would be 3 hours to do a 30-mile journey.
Yeah.
But for the first time, 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, Headway had a meet-up in Skegness. They've now got a place to run it from. Now I went to it. Because until then, I've only been to visually impaired, blind get-togethers, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and stuff like that. Because I had to say to myself, Nige, you've got brain damage. And that's what's caused all this. You get what I mean? And going there talking to people, they were saying stuff that I'm just nodding, and then I'm saying stuff and they're nodding, you know what I mean? So I think people I would say people rather than any men or females. And I think the human race can talk to an group, if you know what I mean, rather than phoning the motorbike mental health thing up.
But I had the mental health motorbike folk on here years ago when I first started doing the podcast, and I've done one of their sort of sessions as well, and it was done on Zoom during COVID, and it was done on Zoom. So it's like you're in a big room with everybody. It's just there's just banks of people, and it's exactly as you'd imagine. People just chat and talk, and I definitely notice it now within my community I've built up around TeapotOne and the podcast and stuff. People are much more open and willing to talk now about what they're going through than I would say they were even 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a massive thing now, particularly because of COVID, I think, because so many people suddenly started, having issues.
They didn't know they had it. until COVID came, did it?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And there's not the stigma around it anymore that there was. People are definitely, I have people on here every week, and I would say 9 times out of 10, somebody's got, somebody has experienced some form of mental health at some point. And, it definitely helps to talk about it, man. Absolutely.
It does. And that's leading on to something else, you know what I mean? When I do talks, I actually get something out of it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Definitely.
In that sense. In that sense, you know what I mean? And, a well-being sense, rather as well as I'm a natural showman anyway, so I like talking about myself and being on stage, you know what I mean. But I do personally get some benefit out of it, you know what I mean. And of course, sorry, but like you said, people talk more openly than you ever think, and I'm saying, when I'm on stage talking to people, when I come back, I can't always remember what I've talked about today, but some things I do, and I think, bloody hell, Nigel, you opened up there, you know what I mean? And you don't realise you're doing it, and especially when people are listening and engaging and wanting to hear and nodding as well and thinking, yeah, you know what I mean?
I think people appreciate that, though. They appreciate someone being open and honest with them, and just sharing everything. And the other thing is, the experience that you've had and are having and what you've been through, what you're going through, how you're feeling. I mean, other people will be going through their own versions of that. And just you speaking about it, it helps, doesn't it? Because somebody can be out there going through it, having these thoughts in their head and think, oh, geez, God, what sort of person am I to be thinking of this? Yeah. And then there you are, you're vocalizing it and you're saying, yeah, I went through this, I was thinking that. Now I'm here at this stage in life and I'm thinking this way. That can really help people.
Yeah.
Fair play to you.
Yeah, thank you. If I could just say this, the things are coming to me while you're saying things, it's triggering things. Yeah. So when this all happened to me, my local blind society asked me if I wanted to go 10-pin bowling with other blind and visually impaired people. Well, 2 things. One, I'd never been 10-pin bowling in my life.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I didn't want to go and mix with people that was going to tell me it was going to be okay. Because it wasn't fucking okay. I wasn't okay.
Yeah.
And it was never going to be okay. But now I understand the ethos behind that. So would I say that to somebody else in my place? And I would definitely encourage them to do it. But what I would say, what I would add on to that is, it's not going to be okay just by mixing with other people. And life might never be okay for you. But if you do work at it, hopefully you can make it okay for you. You understand what I'm saying? Rather than say it will be okay. That is never a given. You know what I mean? Because you could go 2 ways, just like me and Julie. We could have gone 2 ways. And for 2 years, we went down the sitting and eating cheese on toast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And feeling sorry for yourself, and everybody was against us and blah, 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 and blah, 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 And I don't know, well, we just decided one day mutually to say, fuck it, and let's go for it, you know what I mean? And if I can say this, we're off to Falmouth this year. I've never been down Cornwall that way on. We're off to Falmouth this year. Because Julie's got her graduation. She's just passed the master's degree.
Oh, fantastic.
In film and script writing. And Julie's there in the other room on a Zoom now with the script writers. So,
wow.
So, I do talks, Julie does talks, and we do talks in a couple. We did a talk for Brooklyn's Motor Museum the other year. And we were the first, I think I can say this genuinely, the first ever couple to do a talk, and a non-famous couple, if you know what I mean, to do a talk for Brooklands. And we was on for an hour and a half, I think, talking. because we just bounced off each other.
Fair play.
Julie pills, because when I talk about the coma, I'm only telling you, I'm only telling you what Julie's told. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
After then I can talk from my experience. But them few days I talked to her, this happened, that happened, and that happened. It's only because Julie's told me what's happened. You know what I mean?
Aye.
So yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy world, isn't it? And I've always said it's a good job we don't know what's right corner. Otherwise, we would never turn that corner. And
there's a saying I always bring up, and it feels really weird to say this here now with you after everything you've been through and Julie's been through. But there's a saying, isn't there? What's meant for you won't go by you. And it's like, what's your path is your path in life.
Yeah, I've never heard of that, but yeah,
have
absolutely.
You not? And it's kind of almost perverse to say it in your situation, but it's like, life was one way, this has happened, and now life's going down a different way with you. But through that, you're finding a role in life now where you're able to not only help yourselves by, sharing what you've been through, but you're plainly also helping a lot of other people out there.
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. Yeah, absolutely. And if I can state this again, totally truthful, in tongue in cheek, I do hate it. Not literally, but I do hate it when people say, "What? All these things you're doing now, Nigel, you want to go these things if you had to." They're like, I fucking would, mate, because I did it before my accident. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Now, would I have been ranked third in UK as a blind and visually impaired temping bowlers? And the answer is no, because I want to do visually impaired or blind. But it won't to stop me chasing a goal. If I'd have wanted to be top 10, in top 3 in Britain temping bowler with full side, then I would have gone to my local bowling alley
and put the graft in, try it. Yeah.
You understand?
I get you.
I have to bite the tongues. I'm like, I know what you're saying. I know you just trying to look at where you are now. From 10 years ago, look at where you are. You're going to be so proud. I know that's what they say. But oh my God,
No, yeah. Well, I tell you what, this brings me on to a question that I ask everybody that comes on here. And that is, I describe Bru Time as a relaxed conversation podcast exploring what it really means to live your life through honest conversations with people who choose more. When you hear that, what does choosing more mean to you?
I have to say this truthfully. I don't 100% understand that question. I know that sounds silly.
No, not at all.
I'll be totally honest. Just say that a little bit again, Bru, so I can analyze it. This is when with brain damage.
No worries.
Kind of, I have to kind of think about stuff, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
So, just say that again.
So I describe Bru Time, this podcast, as a relaxed conversation exploring what it really means to live your life through honest conversations with people who choose more. So that's as in they make a decision to live a life outside of just the norm. They're doing something different.
Yeah.
So when you hear that, what does choosing more mean to you?
It means setting my heart on fire. I need to get that taste, that adrenaline taste. You know what I mean? And absolutely setting the heart on fire. I've just been, I'm going to say this, just so pig-headed and doing what the fuck I want. You know what I mean? And without care of everyone else thinks, all in that moment in time, So yeah, just living life to me is not just. You've got to dance within the fire, haven't you? You know what I mean? You've got to get burnt, otherwise, oh God, yeah, I like to feel a bit of pain. I know that's a bit dark and stuff, and maybe that's where wanting tattoos come from, pain and stuff.
You want to push your limits.
Yeah, but that's what I was, and risk. It could go right or it could go totally fucking wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that's the racer in you, isn't it?
Yeah. And somebody asked me this question like this other week on the other interview, and I'm not a blind person that wants to race. I'm a racer that's gone blind, if you know what I mean. And, I think that's the difference, isn't it? You can't take it out of yourself, and obviously the stuff I do solo things. I can't afford to race against anybody else. I can't race competitively anyway. You know what I mean? I just want to race myself, and so all my every day of my life. I'm quite independent, but Jules has to do a lot of different stuff for me. But when I do any challenge that I do, even if it's only 8 seconds up a drag strip, that 8 seconds, all I'm thinking about is what I'm doing. So I've got no distraction. I've got no black dog and no nothing else. I haven't got to physically ask Julie to help me with my shoelaces or whatever.
It's all you. It's all down to you. Yeah.
For 8 seconds. And if I could bottle that and sell it, then I'd be a millionaire. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because you probably know, look, we all know people that just live such a grey life, don't they? They live such a grey life, you know what I mean? Never pushing anything.
Yeah. Beige life, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And
But some people are just happy doing that. Some people are just happy ticking along.
But 100%. But what I do believe, if you had a taste of that.
Yeah.
Look, so I'm Mr. Blandware Feeders, right? I've eaten more stuff since losing my sight than I've eaten in my life, okay?
Have you?
And I think yeah. Oh, so before this, you asked Julie, what do you want to eat, Nigel? We'll go to a restaurant. Gammon chips, please, and some peas. You know what I mean? I didn't try anything else. Right.
Sounds like my wife.
I'll try anything. I've even tried tartar sauce on fish. No, not tartar. They were lemon.
Posh.
Oh, and it's a game changer. A game changer.
It's all making sense now, is it?
went to Ivy and looked. And it's all dark in there. And I can't see fuck all in there. And I had fish and chips and Julie had some. And I said, what's that on there? Is that a chip? She goes, yeah, it's a chip. Picked it up and put in, and it was a quarter to 11.
Oh.
she got some chicken chip out there. Oh, God almighty. And ever since then, I've squirted it on. I said to Jill, I says, this is a game changer. Why nobody ever told me that living on fish is good? And she says, well, why didn't you think the Brit on your plane now?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So these beach people have never tried lemon on the fish off there, you know what I mean? And who knows, they might like it.
This is it. Try a bit of lemon in your life, people. Try a bit of lemon.
Yeah. Well, not don't eat it.
Yeah. Well, it might do it for some people. Right, Nigel, the way things work on this is I put out on my social media and say who the next guest is, and then people have an opportunity to leave some questions for us to go over. So there's a few for us over in me Patreon. Yeah. Is that all right? We absolutely. Crack on, get through them. Okay, so we'll head to the clan, which is patreon.com/TeapotOne. First one, Rebecca Christie. Wow, what a story, Nigel. Oh, I put a link to one of your videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
So people could get a little bit of an idea of your backstory.
Yeah.
I can't get my head to move on from the fact that your wife came close to turning off the machines. It's confirmed my belief in the non-verbal forms of communication and energetic connections. I'm so glad for you both that you are here to tell this tale. My question is a bit controversial, so feel free not to answer. Do you believe there was more that could or maybe should have been done when you came out of hospital to help you and your wife learn to live your new normal? From the video, I got the feeling you felt quite alone and at sea with your struggles. My reason for asking is that as a healthcare worker myself, I'm an osteopath, so look at disease in a very holistic way. I would like to think I could help in more ways than the physical rehabilitation. When training, I helped out in a clinic for refugees and ex-servicemen who'd been exposed to torture and trauma, and it was tough. Sometimes just being there and offering basic care was enough. So we touched on this on your aftercare.
We did, yeah. I've absolutely, and I'm going to be totally honest now. If you'd have asked me this question 8 years ago, I would have said absolutely 100% there was more they could have done for us. Okay. But me and Joe, we talk a lot about everything in life, you know what I mean? And we've now come to a bit of a decision that yes, there could have been more done. And I've alluded to it on that letter, Anto, it said this man needs to see it, you know what I mean? But we both believe, because we were so independent, and we'd been the caregivers, okay, everybody come tonight, it's either grandma and granddad, or mum and dad, or son and daughter. We was at that age that we looked at the parents, if you know what I mean, and gave advice to children, and the big advice and love to grandchildren. We was at that. I think there's a sweet spot in that age of 50 years old, and because we given care to everybody, we was the people that came to us. We found it difficult to ask. So I do believe more could have been done, but now with hindsight, I think we might have refused or
pushed more from your end.
Yeah. I mean, I use this analogy. You know, as I say, I had a great childhood. I don't remember. I mean, I was born in '65, so I'm a '70s kid, an '80s, teenager, and that. I can't remember at all my mum and dad hitting us children, and the reason why they didn't hit us is because my mum's face. And she told us to stop doing something. See her eyes now.
That was enough.
That was a look.
Yeah.
I have that look because I see myself. I can hear my dad telling kids off now. You know, it's dad's voice coming out of me when I'm telling grandkids off. You know, and I have that look. So, people, unless they're blind, they know exactly what Nigel's thinking, even if he doesn't open his mouth. You know what I mean? So. And that goes for both of us. So I'm sure we have been offered help or whatever, and we've kind of refused it.
Yeah.
But equally, that answers that question. And Julie, I mean, up until COVID come, we had a salon here, massage therapy and all, crystals, because that's what Julie's into, that kind of thing. And thankfully that helped me as well. It's helped both of us, I think. I do, we have meditation stuff on at night time now and stuff like that. Now, I'm from a mining village, okay, coal mining village. And if anybody from my coal mining village, any of my friends is watching this interview, they'd be saying, you pussy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do believe it's like massage. I broke most of my bones in my body over my life, right from being a kid to where I am now. And never go for massage because that's what pussies do, you know what I mean, blah, blah, blah. And I can honestly say it's the best thing in the world. And what I'm going to say is I can now understand, and maybe it's sexist now, a 1970s sexist, why my mum and that went to hairdressers. They weren't just to have haircuts or pain. It was for the relaxing and pampering and...
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So when you go for a massage, it's not just about the work that's done on your body. It's just been relaxed and in that mindset. And you understand wrong. personal relaxation. Yeah, it's
I get it, and
you know,
like
people
going for massage and stuff. I can't think of anything worse personally. I don't know why, but I just don't like being touched. You know, unless we're going to get really personal, just don't be touching me. It's like, it's not happening. I can't. I've had to go to like a masseuse or the osteopath or something. You know, when I've knackered my back or whatever. Yeah. And obviously it is hands-on, isn't it, by its very nature? Yeah. And they're always like, relax. And I'm just like, I can't relax. It just gives me the ick. I just can't deal with it being touched. Yeah. It's like, oh no. I understand how it works for people.
Yeah. And I can understand your point. That's not me, but I can understand your point of view, you know what I mean? All they need to do is say, do you want to have the ending? That might make things different.
Next question.
I've got a story about that down London.
Oh, go on in. Come on in. Let's have that story.
So we're down London, down Hammersmith, at a business meeting for Julie. And of course, I go along with her and then do my own thing when I'm in London-ish, around where she is. So I said to her, do you know what? I fancy a massage. I said, I'm going to Google closest one to where your event is. No. So we did. So this is an Hammersmith, right? So the three on the street, I can't remember it, Shoreditch Road or whatever it was. I think there's three of them here. Look, they're all on internet, they're on Google. We've all got boards outside. One's next to motorbike shops. So I thought, I can go and look at motorbike shops. I booked in that one, went in. Bloke, it was a Chinese, obviously. Bloke says, you've not got a London accent. Where are you from? I said, from, East Coast of Lincolnshire. He says, you're joking. He says, my parents have a restaurant in Greenwich. I says, how bloody hell, that's. So we had a bit of a chat. So that was quite cool. Went in, laid down. And she said, take your pants up. And I thought that strip off, sorry, babe, down to underpants. She goes, no, take them off. And I thought that was a bit strange because I never had that. But I thought, so she put a towel on, so that's fine. So she didn't even massage me properly. And then she started going around on the buttons. And I'm like, oh, God. And then she says, happy ending. I said, no, I don't. Just give me a massage. And she couldn't even massage me. There was and I paid by card before I went in, so it was worth £35
no.
I've ever spent. You know what I mean? I wanted to mind her that she would give me a yeah.
Whereabouts was this again, Nigel?
I'll send you the link.
No. It's a joke. That's a joke. If my wife's watching or listening to this, it's a joke.
So, and truthfully, it put me off then. So, I would have like when I'm at home where I'm going to, but I do like when we go away to happen, you know what I
mean? Yeah.
And stuff when you just thinking. Anyway, that's that. So next question.
Yeah, some street in North London's probably not the place to go for it.
Yeah.
Right, cheers for that question, Rebecca.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, exactly. Next one, Grubby. Evening, guys. I've got a question for Nigel. You have experience of a life-threatening injury that has had a massive effect on your life. How has this affected your mental health and what dragged you through to the other side? Wishing you all the best and great to meet you on the clan ride, Bruce, even if it was while you were hanging around outside the men's talk. Yeah, that's something to talk about another time, story. Grubby. Yeah. So, we've chatted a lot about mental health, actually, but
yeah.
And I did ask that question earlier, didn't I? Like, how has this affected you for the good? But how has it affected you now?
Yeah, so obviously I answered the thing about how do you drag yourself through that. I look light at the end of the tunnel, the irony, light at the end of the tunnel that I can't see. It was because I've had a happy art for all my life, and I knew that was attainable and stuff. How it's affecting me mentally. It's left me with anxiety, to be fair, which, as I say, it only comes at the quiet of your mind. Doesn't matter if it's night or day. Anytime there's a quiet period, then you start running and stuff, you know what I mean? And thankfully, like I said earlier on, I always say I'm the man who I am now because of the man I was before. because I'd had a placid mind and a placid heart, it's made it easier for me to become this person. I ask Julie on a regular basis, am I still the same person? You know what I mean? Because I want to know, do I handle myself properly when I'm out? Because it's getting better, but one thing it has caused is a filter so from between calm and wanting to rip somebody's head off.
Yeah.
It's a millisecond.
Yeah.
Now, and this frightens me because, like I said, I've never had a fight in my life. And the only another week, I got off a train at London, and this kid, I mean, I think that song what I wrote, didn't I? About, this kid pushed in front of me to get through the barriers. And I went from being Mr. Placid to wanting to kill them. You know what I mean? Never fought in my life, but I wanted to punch daylights out. You know what I mean? And I think as well that stems from I'm trying to think of the word, because I'm so angry at life, because that's
frustrated. Frustrated.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I am frustrated now that I can't do these things.
Yeah.
And that can rear its ugly head in this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get you. I get you.
Yeah. So the sad thing is, before this happened to me, if that kid had run in front of me and went through, I'd have just probably thought, every trip up, mate. You know what I mean? But last week in King's Cross, I wanted to, just punch it to the floor. You know what I mean? And,
I've got to say, mate, like London does that to me anyway. Just I can't stand going up into London anymore. My tolerance and patience has just gone now. I've spent
I think that's with age as well.
There.
I think age comes through there as well.
Yeah.
You just don't want to, but you just think, why the fuck do I need to tolerate this shit? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, but and I hope that's answered the question, because as I say, we talked about it earlier on, so I don't really want to waste time with what we talked. So I hope that answers this question. You know what I mean?
One thing that popped into my head when you were saying that about the reason what helped you get through it was that you could see the light at the end of the tunnel. So there's a lot of people who just they can't see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I always think to myself, it's like, how I have a very good mate who's spent probably best part of the last decade actually fighting a lot of mental health issues. He's tried to take his life umpteen times, and he seems to be out the other side now. He's found
great stuff.
He's found a vocation in life and like a sense and a purpose.
Yeah.
But I really want to have the conversation with him along the lines of like, how did that happen? Like, where did this come from? Because for years, the guy was just in the depths of despair, and it was heartbreaking to see him go through it, because he'd been such a like just a bundle of joy and enthusiasm in life. And one thing, life happens, doesn't it? And it just sent him down this path. I always think to myself, how do you get people through that when they can't see a light?
Yeah, in fact, they might have said that. So I think this could apply to the people as well. I wouldn't say childish things. To other people, it's probably childish. But if it pleases my heart, then I'll do it. Because that gets me through it. You know what I mean? I won't say about childish. I'll give you an example. I make remote control cars and stuff. And the body shows I have an idea of what graphics and stuff when I do it. Yeah. So I've got a picture of me, 18 years old, with my first ever car, which is a Mini. And I've got a picture of that from 1983. I've bought a 10 scale Mini body shell, I bought paint matched to the exact colour, painted bits, and I've done all the white roof and spotlights, and I've done it exactly as this picture is. Right. Now it's cost me, I had to buy a can that big for a bit that big, it's costing you probably 70 quid to do this little bloody body shop. But my motto is, I had to find the picture. B, I had to look at it. C, I had to find out then what colour it was by looking through swatches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then source and buy the shell. Then struggle cutting it out and struggle painting it and masking it off and stuff. So this little kiddie toy has cost me 70 quid, which took me 6 weeks to do. So all them 6 weeks, my mind has been happy as
occupied.
Larry.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the word vocation is the key word. Try and draw on something that you're interested in. Did you just say you was interested in woodwork, for example, or have a liking for woodwork? You used to like to see a nice dresser in somewhere. Then try and do something to do with that, if you understand what I mean, to make your heart happy and please you. The word vocation is just the word, isn't it?
Yeah. That's interesting, because this mate of mine, what seems to have helped him the most is he's discovered a love of art, and he's discovered that he's actually pretty good at it. And he puts his experiences and what he's gone through into it's not like traditional, he's not like a landscape artist. I couldn't even describe how it is, but I love it. When I see these pieces of art that he creates, it's just like, oh my God, wow. Like, you can see, I can't put it into words, but I can see that there's a lot of experiences and feelings and emotions in that. And it's nuts how he's a different man. He's just a different man now, It's awesome.
I mean, it's given me heebie-jeebies listening to that story. A, because I know how it feels, and B, I'm so pleased for this guy, you know what I mean? And I have to say, even though I'm a bit black and white about, if you can't help yourself, and I don't think everybody's now yet, I do love and thrive in an environment where I can hopefully, not just inspired, because that makes me sound a bit of a god or whatever. Inspiring people is mixed more about you, and that's not what I'm trying to say. But if I can help, and even if I inspire people, then so be it. If you know what I mean, I don't do it to inspire people. I do it to say, this makes me happy, and just because I can do something doesn't mean so that you can. But if you can get to the top of your personal mountain, you're going to feel the exact same as I get to at my mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if my mountain is as big in yours as that. It's not how big or how fast or anything. It's the personal into make again. I know I say it probably sounds a bit twee and a bit pussy, but make your heart happy. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah. I think as we get older, you realise that that's kind of all there is to it, isn't it? It's you need to make you happy, and obviously you want to make those around you that you love and you care for. You want to make
but
them
if you're
happy.
But if you're happy,
it rubs off on them.
It makes you. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Right, next one, Andy. Evening, gents. All the best to you both. Just a couple of questions from me for Nigel. Firstly, given your second chance that you have truly ensured you make... Firstly, given your second chance that you have truly ensured you make the most out of... Hang on, let me reread that. I think he's missed a couple of words out. Firstly, given your second chance that you have truly ensured you make the most out of, I'm assuming it's life, what advice would you give to the others who may never have the life-changing experience you have had?
Right. Well, if you could laugh at this, I think it's appertaining to this question. Catch a train to places. Catch a coach to places. And the reason is, you see a lot more alive than you do when you're driving your car. I've driven everywhere in my life. And the irony is, I catch trains now and catch buses. I can't really see what I'm looking at, but I can see more than I've ever seen in my life. And and that is totally genuine comment. And I'm going to make you laugh now because I was doing a talk or something, and there was this person. He didn't want to make a fool of. I don't think that was what his intention was. But he asked me such a profound question. I thought, I'm going to answer it. I'm going to answer you in Nigel's talk, right? You know, I can't talk on your level. I'm going to answer it now. And I answered it with that question. And I didn't know what to do with it because I told the truth, and that's the truth. And the other thing is, I got forced to retire when I was 50 years old because I need to say this. 77% of visually impaired blind people are out of employment. Nobody wants to employ a blind bloke, okay? 77% of visually impaired community are out of unemployed. And that is crazy, isn't it? I've still got all these skills in my brain and nobody will employ me. And rightly so, because I can still do jobs. But it takes me 5 times longer than it would have done certain jobs before. So I understand all that, don't get me wrong. But
you know, there's like a consultancy role there, isn't there? Or you know, like you could work with apprentices within.
Don't get me going on that. Don't get me going down that line. Do not get me going on that line. But you can imagine what I'm like. I'm so proactive, and I've gone to colleges and stuff and wanted to do this. Again, not being big-headed, but I was good at my job and top till in Britain. I've got a lot of skill. And before my accident, for 2 years, I lectured at a college, you know what I mean? So this is where I've got this natural, probably, ability to stand on a stage and that, you know what I mean? Thankfully. So I'm unemployed now. Yes, I could probably go and start a show or something, but my brain won't accept that to be the skills I've got and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was forced into retirement at 50 years old. I would advise anybody to retire as soon as they can. Don't wait until 67. Yeah, absolutely. Live a life. Because when you get to 67, you're going to be told to do shit, you know what I mean? If you can afford to live and retire at the youngest age possible, if you can afford, I know if you've got a mortgage, you can't, or whatever, but live to your means and enjoy life. And that's, so catch your bus and the train and retire as early as possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because there's a lot of people, are the richest people in a graveyard, aren't they? And
enjoyed life.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that die soon after they retire, you know what I mean? And it's a fact. Nobody knows why, but it is a fact. So no, live while you can. That's another thing. If I could advise anybody, if it answers this question, and I'm not going to flip it, it's true. You know what I mean? That's my tagline.
It's what I live life by. Live your life. Something my mum said to me before she died. You know.
Yeah.
Look after those that you love, but live your life.
Yeah. That stuck when I watched that video. That stuck with me. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going just onto the stuff I do. Some people say, "Why do you do it? Why do you do it?" You know, blah, blah, blah. And I feel that whoever's up there has given Nigel another chance. And I think if I didn't take another chance to do stuff, I'd be disappointed in that person that gave me this life. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
You know, so I just need to do what I do, and it's all, you know, thought about and stuff as much as safety can be. You know what I mean? I could do a lot more crazy stuff than I do, but I would get no more satisfaction, no more throat, you know, adrenaline in my throat. Only half, please. I can do that for less risk as possible, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
So Yeah, so hopefully that answers this question.
Certainly does. We've got one more question from Andy, and that is, as a young lad, I spent many a summer in Mablethorpe. How cold is the beach in December?
Well, the day I had my accident, it was as blue. It was like Simpsons sky, lovely blue sky and white clouds.
Really?
But it was cold. Oh, yeah, it was. But it was cold, obviously, because it's 27th of December. In actual fact, that could have been the reason why I crashed. Because when an engine runs methanol, methanol has to come through the carburetor, obviously. Methanol is known for freezing carburetors up. Even at Speedway, in season time, in June, July time, the methanol is ice cold, and it can freeze the carburetor up. So, the fact it was ice cold, and the fact methanol freezes up at drop of a hat, that could have been the reason. Because I was foot out, going down straight, and so you know the slide would have been at top. You know, so that could have been one of the reasons. When I come to shut off for the bend, nothing happened. It just carried on. And it's like people say, "Oh, well, you do this and do that." Well, in them milliseconds, the first thing I think the first thing any motorbikist would do is look for the brakes. Mm-hmm. And when you've not got a brake,
God, good point.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So Mablethorpe's lovely. It's the wind that's a killer. I mean, today it's been absolutely red up with sun, but the cold wind off the sea has been bloody freezing. You know what I mean?
So, right, cheers for that question, Andy. We have one more over on the Facebook page, and that's from Ian Allen. He says, "You've literally come back from the brink. So what drives you now? Proving people wrong, proving something to yourself, or just the love of racing? As a footnote, if one person epitomizes TeapotOne's live your life, it's you." Well, we just
cheers for that one. Cheers. Well, it's not to prove anything to anybody else. That has never been me at all. I've done everything Nigel's done in life is for himself, not for other people. It's given. So good before my accident, I had a life, you know what I mean, and a happy life. I keep saying happy life. I loved my job. I'd never worked for 27 years because I just loved what I did. Absolutely loved what I did. I just wanted to get some kind of normality back, if you know what I mean, and push myself. And so it's all been for me, okay, if that's not for anybody else. And people said, "Oh, you inspire other people," and are you proud of that? And I'm going to say, yes, I'm very proud if I inspire somebody. I don't do what I do, like I said earlier on, to inspire people, because that makes me then sound like a god. But if what I do does inspire people, then I will take that as a positive, absolutely. So it's all about making my life livable. And, you know, going back to what I said earlier on, I live a fulfilled life now. If I did do these things, I wouldn't live a fulfilled life, you know what I mean? Because for me to fulfill my life, I do what I do. And the fact that I like racing and the challenge of it, and I love mechanics, I just love to smell, to feel the vibration. And I mean, if any of your listeners, you know, go to my YouTube channel, the last thing that I did, which was September, I went on a sidecar, and I'm on like a TT sidecar, and I did the interview with the BBC and ITV, and on one of them, I could smell the tire, you know, I could smell the rubber, and I could smell the oil, and that just makes my heart sing, you know what I mean? Quite sad, really. But I think if you're a biker, then you probably think, you know what, that looks a bit of a twit, but it talks a bit of sense as well, you know.
Absolutely. Especially if you've raced as well.
Yeah. But I'm going to say, I've never won anything, you know, far from it. I've never been any good, but it's just taking the part, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Last question from me then, if I can. What's the future hold? What challenges or goals have you got in line or in mind?
Well, I've got a few. I'm going to hopefully do better nails. I know that sounds a bit crazy. Better nails.
The actual bed of nails that you lie on?
Yes, yeah. But the chap, my mate Jim, who I did the drag racing with, he builds Jim King Racing. He builds drag bikes and it fits turbos to anything that's got a piston in it. He works for Rolls-Royce, right? So he's got an immense high-powered aerospace job, right? But at the weekend, he has his own show where he goes on stage, shoves 6-inch nails up his nose, staples fibers to his forehead, darts thrown at his bike, better nails and stuff. It's quite a juxtaposition.
Just a bit.
He said, do you fancy doing better nails? I said, yeah, absolutely. And I was going to do it before Christmas. But his partner in crime, his wife, I think, had a heart attack or a stroke or whatever. So Jim didn't want to come because the BBC's on about coming or the written to video, to film it live. He didn't want to come without his partner in crime. Just on his own, so we're waiting for this thing. And I've just been messaging today about doing a passenger ride in a Speedway sidecar outfit. That'd be insane. But the ultimate thing I really want to do is live a life and everything else. But I know this sounds a bit silly maybe. I don't want to be on telly because I want to be famous, but I think I've got a lot to give, you know what I mean? And I just I've got all this knowledge in, in my head, steam engines, engineering a full stop. I mean, people of a certain age will remember the thing called How. Whoa. And they'd set things on fire, you know what I mean? I just think, how about a guy that can't see properly setting fire to stuff and talking about stuff? I've got quoted for saying this on a few things. Somebody said to me, "You like the blind guy Martin," you know what I mean? And I'll take that at any time, you know what I mean? I only talk about stuff I know about, you know what I mean? And I'm enthusiastic and I've tried to get stuff on, to get to these things and Henry Cole and all these people and you get so far down the line and then it just gets stopped. So if there's any filmmakers out there and stuff.
I'll tell you right now, right? You have the ability to do this yourself. The platform's right there. You've already got a YouTube channel. Film it yourself. Yeah. You only you need a phone for the camera. That's it, and a mic, and you just get out there and you just start talking. You have all this knowledge, mate. You want to share it with people. You've got a hell of a backstory. Just start creating content and putting it on a YouTube channel. And once it's monetized, you can start earning money. And, you could earn a really good wage from that if you get enough views.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. And I've tried that. But let's go back now to Julie. So I never said this, but Julie wrote a book. And now it's a novel. That means it's not true, obviously, but it's based on 90% truths. She had a bad experience in the, without going into too much detail, she had a bad experience in the second mental institute that she had to have counselling for after she came out of the mental institute. And she decided rather than bleed out with a knife, she would bleed onto the paper. So she wrote a book. And it's about a lady on a horse, which is obviously her, horse rider, has an accident, goes in a coma. When she comes out of the coma, she gets put into a mental institute. So it's about both of us, okay. And it's got rave reviews. You get it to Amazon and that. It's exciting, production. She wants to, everybody that's ready, and I'm going to say this, everybody that's ready has just said, this needs to be a film. And our story needs to be a film, you know what I mean? And how do you get it to a film? It's impossible. So what Julie said she did is give a master's degree in film and script writing, and do it as the grandkids said by her own.
Wow.
And that's one of the reasons she did the master's degree. We're both go-getters, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, what incredible people the two of you are.
Yeah,
wow.
thank you, yeah. And so she's been on a Zoom tonight, you know, because we wanted it. Because the last time I did an interview with Radio Archer thing, she was on a Zoom and internet kind of crashed, you know what I mean? She had to stop what she was doing because mine was not more important as in important, but it was more important that I did what I did. She could look at hers on catch up, if you know what I mean. So we've been kind of worried tonight. But it's not. She's been on a Zoom because she said to me, just stop out with it. If it all goes funny, and then she'll switch off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. So we're both go-getters, and we're both, you know, bounce off each other. If I can just say this, I don't know how much time we've got left. If I can just say this. So during our life after my accident, we've had a lot of people say, just say I'm talking to somebody without Julie, or Julie talking to somebody without me. We've had a lot say, are you still together? Have you got divorced and split up? And we both said, absolutely, no, you know what I mean? And we couldn't really understand why people were saying this. Anyway, so I'm doing a tour in York to a group of 300 solicitors. And there was 4 speakers on and little old me in the middle. And the 4 speakers were top neuropsychologists. One was a top brain surgeon, one was a top QC from London, other one was somebody top from the NHS, and then little old me in between. And the brain surgeon, when he was doing his talk, he put on his screen that 68% of couples split up through this kind of situation. So that answered exactly what people was, why they were surprised we were still together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It shows the strength of character and mind that the both of you have, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, let's face it. Look, she must love me because she lets me wear a cowboy hat. I mean, he doesn't want to go out with somebody wearing a cowboy hat, you know what I mean? So it's the bane of her life.
What's that about then? How come? What makes you? What's the love of a cowboy?
There's a story there. So I've never wore hats because I don't suit it. I've gone out in high school. I've worked outside most of my life without hat freezing because I don't do hats. I've always loved cowboy hat. So from my kids, mum and dad was into country and western. When I was like 8 and 9 years old, I had to go with it to watch country and western. They didn't leave us on his own. You know what I mean? We had to go with it. So I do like a bit of country, and I've always loved a cowboy hat. So, but every day I wear one. Again, from my new village, if I'd got one of these on, I'd have been beat up every night. And anyway, so I'm in IB run a radio station for us blind folk, okay? And of course, me being me, I go on quite a lot telling my stories, you know what I mean? And one of the presenters, Simon, he's blind. Well, he's nearly totally blind. Lives in Glasgow, and he's then retired because he had some physical injuries and stuff. And we've kept friends. And he said, "You'll have to come up and see me now." I said, "Yeah, I will do." So anyway, it's going to be 2 years ago now. I went to stop with him for about 5 days. And we're both in, he plays a saxophone, and I'm not so into music. I do drums and stuff. And he says, "Have you ever heard of these?" And it says, I don't know, it says Alabama 3. And I said, "Well, I think I've heard of Alabama 3. He says, "I'm written out in them."
Sopranos, isn't it?
Yeah. So anyway, so it puts it on. And of course, mate is there singing with his cowboy hat. And I had a man crush on him, right? So he looks so cool. Anyway, so comes on, catches train all the way from Glasgow back home to Julie. I says, I went up. I call it Julie's-on, not Amazon, Julie's-on, because Julie used to buy a lot of Amazon. Now it's me that buys it. But I haven't got an account. So I have to ask her to buy it, and then I give it money. So I can't buy it without knowing. So she says, and anyway, I'm giggling. She goes, "But you won't use it." I says, what do you reckon about one of these, me and one of these? So she says, what? So I showed her, there's a cowboy hat. She just looked at me and she goes, I don't think so, Nigel. I said, well, do you know what? It was 20 quid. And it weren't this one, it was a bit lesser one. I said, I'm going to buy it and see what it looks like when it comes. And one of our granddaughters, she can't tell a lie to save a lie. So I thought, I would ask her if she likes Grandad in a cowboy hat, and she'll tell me it's yes or no. So she'll come around one Wednesday. I'll put a cowboy hat on. She walked in, and I says, "Hey, Megan," I says, "What are you in this cowboy hat?" And she says, "Grandad, that looks nice." So I thought,
Awesome.
That's it. Yeah, and I feel it looks nice, and you know, people say that, oh, you wear a hat because you've got no hair. Well, I've got problems on about this before. I've got the thickest head of it.
We've got a mane here
at the back. Yeah, but I just think it looks quite cool, and it's like the lemon on the pitch. 50 years without it. Once I'd had it, I've never worn a hat in my life, only crash on it, and now it looks half decent. I'm pointing through there because I've got a Stetson through there, mate. You wouldn't get a suntan under it. It's that big. When we went to Nashville last year for my 60th, we went to Nashville, Memphis, and New Orleans for the music thing. And I took it with me, and I nearly had to have another seat to put it on. It was that big.
Memphis is a cool city, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't wear it very often because it is a bit big. I bang into people with it because it's like I'm an umbrella on the head, you know what I mean? So I like to wear a cowboy hat. And like I said to you, I've been working outside today, and I put in clean shirt on, but I couldn't be asked to do my hair because I'm a bit vain about it. If my hair's showing, I like to have it looking cool, you know what I mean? In fact, some of the interviews I do, when I take my crash helmet off, first thing I said to cameraman is my hair okay or whatever, you know what I mean? I'll show them my hair there, look. So I've got a made of hair, it's a sheet.
I can't say anything. Look at the state of me. I can't say a thing.
I had it cut yesterday, and I'm a big believer that when you have your hair cut, but for the first day, it looks a bit crap when you've had your hair cut. It takes a couple of days to kind of wear in, you know what I mean? So
I can't remember, mate. I haven't had hair for so long.
You're not going to Google it.
Yeah.
What's it like to have it?
There's a coma over from this, Right, dude, that's all the questions. Before we go, obviously the floor is yours. If there's any plugs you want to give, if there's any shout-outs you want to give, anything you want to chat about we've not yet covered, then feel free.
Well, I think we've chatted about everything, haven't we, mate? Absolutely. I mean, people who's watching this will probably know with links. I have a Facebook page called Blind Bloke Racing, Instagram, Blind Bloke Racing, YouTube, which is Nigel space Blind Bloke Racing. They can catch up on there. I do put stuff on quite regular. I have, there's times I'm doing that much I forget to do it and stuff. And so they can check that out. They just check out around me. And if you're happy, like and subscribe. If you want to talk to me, anything, I'll talk it. And the other thing is, because this is a tea, I'm going to send you one of these. I've not told you this yet, but one of Julie's latest businesses, and I'm part of it, is Hope Tea.
Oh,
it's called Silver, Red, and Ginger, and it's a gift box set, and there's 4 different teas in there. Now Julie's into white witchcraft. She's not a witch in the nasty say, but she's into that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Well, we all are. I mean, before my accident, I used to read tarot cards and stuff. And
really?
So, yeah. I did, yeah. And that's another story. And in actual fact, I haven't read a tarot card since an accident, and that's because I fell out with him for not telling me this was going to happen.
Right.
But did they tell me? And I've been missing.
Yeah, and you didn't read it. Yeah.
So there's 4 boxes there, and they're all fire, air, water, and the other element. It's from Ceylon tea. It's called silver red and ginger, and they're all individually wrapped and stuff. And you can get them through us. Everybody wants to buy one. They're £15 a box, including delivery.
And how do people do that? Is there a website for them as well?
I think Julie might have, but if they message me, they can do it. I can sort that out.
Gotcha.
So that's right. There's a green tea, which is loose. There's a loose tea with a green tea, and then there's an English breakfast, then two other ones, but they're individual, individual kits and that. And
Gotcha.
But yeah, so.
All right. I'll put links for all that down below, folks. Links for everything will be down below.
Yeah. So after this, obviously, you send me your address, Bru, and I'll send you one down. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you.
That's no problem. It's a gift. And that.
My wife will fight me for that. She's a massive tea drinker.
So am I. Yeah. That's about it. I just hope that I've come across okay. I hope that people have listened to and understood what I've said and the thought process behind everything. And I really hope that if that's helped someone, if it's only helped one person, then that's great, isn't it? What you do, what I do, what you do, what we've done together tonight, and along with your other guests. I just think it's great, and I really do. Oh, this is another thing, yeah. So it's not coming quite to fruition yet, but it's getting there. We having a CV 500 challenge race bike. We're entering the CV 500 championship this year. It's called Team Blind Bloke Racing.
Right.
So I've been asked to be the head of it. It not financially, nothing, but the face of it, should say, to be the face of it. So my notoriety, if that's the right word or infamy, hopefully can get us noticed, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Norton is a 15-year-old rider. His dad is Martin. They're from Leicestershire. In fact, today, if people go on my YouTube channel, they'll see videos there. My text today, over the last few days, is to rate your bodywork. So it's Cadbury blue and yellow, different bodywork. Now I've just finished the seat pod up today and finished the tank up.
Awesome.
I'm just got to so I just think that people, engage with me, and I really do. They can say everything they want. If they don't like me, then tell me, you know what I mean? But just engage with me. You know what I mean? Either like and subscribe to engage or engage personally, you know what I mean? I'm always up for anything. And if there's any TV gurus out there, I'm up for. So just quickly, forget what it's called. There's something to do with classic cars. So I approached them because look, I've bought an electrician 27 years. Mm-hmm. How cool would it be for a blind guy to be on, to be part of the set and that can do stuff? You know what I mean? I'm not able to see to do stuff. I know how to do it, and I can tell you how to do it. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And
consultancy again.
Yeah, that's right. Well, what they said is that the frame, it's not private so at all, but it's something of the ilk. There's a framework. They've got that to be on UK TV or whatever because they give their framework to a production company that's produced it, and then they've got on UK TV. There's no room for somebody like me, you know what I mean? To be on it. And there's no bending and stuff. And
TV's over, mate. You want to do it on the streaming platforms or YouTube? I tell you what, folks, if you've got any ideas, is anyone out there that has some ideas about how you could work with Nigel, then drop my line. And
they'll call me Nigel. Absolutely, my name's Nigel.
Yeah, right, there you
go. Yeah, absolutely.
And what about these talks and stuff? You've spoken a lot about giving these talks. How do people get in touch with you for that?
Well, look, as I say, go to the Facebook page. I mean, if you want to put the phone number up, that's fine by me, you know. But
We'll just leave it. We'll leave it at the Facebook pages and socials.
Just send me a message. You know, you can private message me, can't you? Or,
Nice
or comment on something. Say, can you private message me, you know, or whatever. And so in fact, I've got a talk to do on 20th of April. Near Hull, and that's the Advanced Motorcycle Club in Hull.
Nice
so,
one.
So I'm up there doing that one. So, and I
there you go.
Yeah, I take stuff up, and you know, it's a good night. I make people laugh and cry in equal measure. You know what I mean?
There you go, folks. If you've got a club and you're looking for someone to give a chat, Nigel's your man as well. There,
I'm here. Yeah, absolutely.
Nigel, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate, to chat with you, to hear your story. You're not going to have offended anyone, mate. You can't offend people when you're just being you. You're just being open and honest. That's it. You know, people take you as they find you, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, mate. Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on and being so open and honest with us, mate. There's a lot of things we've covered there.
Yeah, same to you. Thanks for inviting me and everything, mate. I appreciate it, really, because I like talking about myself.
Don't we all? That's why we're here, mate. It's why we're here. Right, folks, hope you've enjoyed this one. Keep doing your thing. Remember to check out all those links down there. Keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. Get on out there and live your life.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.